It is Exodus right here on your Classic Metal Show with Iconoclasm, and we want to thank Tom Hunting of the band Exodus for calling in, being part of the show tonight, and sounds like a nice guy. I don't think I've ever interviewed him before, Chris, but very laid back, not pretentious at all.
No, he's cool. I actually met him and Jack Gibson at the Rock on the Range, so I knew him for a minute, I guess. I've actually met him a few times, but nice guy, man.
Yeah, he seems real laid back and kind of mellow, and
sure,
a lot like Rex Brown.
Well, no.
That was a joke.
I get it. I'm trying not to say that Rex is a dick.
Right. Right. Well, should we check in on Kiss?
Yeah, let's check in on Kiss. Let's hear what they're doing.
Let's check in and see what Kiss is up to.
All right. This is enthralling.
I tell you, I want y'all to sing with us like this. Here we go. Yeah, yeah. Do, 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 do. Come on, people. Hey, hey, hey. Do, 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 do. Yeah, yeah. Come on. Hey, hey, hey. Do, 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 do. Hey, hey, hey. Do, 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 do. Let me tell you what happened. Johnny's holding Rosa on a rooftop in the night. His time stood still.
Oh, man.
They couldn't hear him coming till he had them both in sight. You could feel a chill.
Dude, this is horrible.
Like thunder and the fingers on a hand. When nothing was. When someone like a dying of a fully understand.
Wow, Paul doesn't even try to do that scream anymore.
Say your prayers for some trouble tonight. The pride and love and the wicked desire. Hide your heart, 'cause you're playing with us. Say,
That's really bad. I like how Paul just avoids that scream in that song. Just completely avoids it. Doesn't even try.
Right.
You know the part where he goes, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
He just skipped it.
Sure.
Fuck it. I'm not ruining what's left of this little bit of voice for that.
Right. Well, speaking of thrashy interviews,
Yes.
I got an email here
Okay.
that one of our, I want to call him a Classic Metal Show alumni,
Okay.
sent in.
All right, let's hear.
It's time for the Classic Metal Show to start begging for email.
What the hell is email?
Death sent me an email.
Well, when you figure it out, email me.
And here's your loser beggars, Neely and Chris.
You've got mail.
All right. This guy hasn't checked in a while. We actually questioned where he'd been, and he sent us an email out of the blue this week.
Are you going to ruin my night?
No.
All right.
It's time for our weekly email with our good Irish friend, Richard from Ireland. All right, he says, "Hi, Neely and Chris.
Hi.
Been a long time since I contacted the show, although I do listen to the podcast each week. Where else would you hear about warrant, ass fucking, and racism all in the same show?
Wow.
For the last couple of years, I have been co-hosting a show called Focus on Metal.
All right.
And I have had a blast doing it.
Good.
It is one of the shows on the Cast Iron Ring network that also carry Bob's The Couch of Metal.
Wow. So barely carries anything.
Right. I was not aware you were even doing a show, Richard.
Yeah, me either.
How come you didn't let us know about it?
Because he knew we'd review it.
Probably. I have been fortunate in getting some great guests to appear on the show.
Cool.
This week, I asked about getting someone on from a thrash band with a long career who have a new album out next week.
All right.
I think I know who that is. Would that be Overkill?
Maybe.
Probably Overkill.
Yeah.
And was told that the band were not doing any internet radio.
Okay.
I get that they can't go on every show they are asked on.
Sure.
What's your take on a band taking a stance on no internet radio at all? Do serious metal bands even listen to commercial radio anymore?
No.
Would the artist rather be asked dumb questions by someone who has no clue who they're talking to?
Probably.
Being absolute on something like this astounds me in this day and age. Oh, and one final thing. We don't ask for donations on our show. We do it because we love it. Hail and kill, fuck you, pal, blowjob, Irish Richard.
Oh, all right. So how do we answer this?
Well, I guess that's a legitimate question because about 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, bands were not doing internet radio because they were insistent that commercial outlets were the only way to get their word out, and that internet radio, nobody was listening to it. Now 10 years later, it's gone the opposite direction when it comes to niche market type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, podcasts rule now.
Yeah. But I don't think that's true that if he's talking about Overkill, because he said they're a thrash metal band that's got an album coming out next week.
Right.
Isn't Overkill due out on Tuesday?
I think so. I don't have it yet, but I think they're one or Accept.
Well, they're not really a thrash band, though.
Yeah, that's true.
And we've had Accept on the show.
Right.
So
we've had Overkill on the show.
Yeah. Aren't we supposed to have Overkill on the show?
I was told we were having them.
Yeah. So I'm wondering about that. But anyway, I don't know who he's making reference to.
Yeah.
But Richard, I don't know, the total circumstance of what you're talking about. But I can understand some bands limiting their exposure to every internet radio show out there, be it like a Blog Talk Radio or some guy. I don't know anything about your show, so I don't know what kind of a listenership you get. But I'm sure that, so they're not doing every little internet radio show that has 2 listeners.
Right.
I can understand that if they're limiting it to shows that don't have a high profile. Have we been turned down by artists over the years? Yeah. But not
really.
Yeah, that was a whole different story. Though. that wasn't because we were internet radio. That was for a whole different reason.
Right.
So, but anyway, regardless of that, I don't know the full circumstances, Richard. I don't know what kind of listenership you have. Maybe they looked you up and they decided that you weren't a big enough outlet to schedule you in to take time to let you interview them. I don't know.
Yeah, and there could be logistics too. He is in Ireland.
Sure.
There's that. But yeah, I mean, and a lot of times the publicist will give you that answer when they don't want to, when they're not booking anything or they're only booking, certain size things. They'll just, instead of telling you that you're too small, They'll just say, well, they're not doing internet radio. And then you see 2 weeks later, 15 internet interviews.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
I mean, that's an excuse that they use. But look, it still goes back to the same thing. If you're reaching enough people, they don't give a fuck what the outlet is. We're having Judas Priest on in 2 weeks. I'd say Judas Priest is bigger than Overkill.
Yeah.
We're having, me and you are talking to Snake Sabo tomorrow.
Right.
I would say Skid Row is probably as big as Overkill.
Sure.
We've had Philip Anselmo in the last year. We've had Black Sabbath on before, and this is when we were all strictly internet.
Right.
So that excuse is kind of weak, but my hunch is that they just didn't want to tell Richard that his show wasn't big enough.
Maybe.
That would be my hunch.
Yeah, that would be my hunch as well.
But, and that's whatever. That is what it is, because let's just call it the way it is. Publicists, by and large, are stupid. They really are. They don't, most of the time, they don't pay attention to who they're setting up interviews with. They just know that they're in their list.
Right.
And, and there's some that aren't. To be fair, there's some that aren't. I work with some really great publicists that actually know what we do. And limit what we can do sometimes because of what we do, which is fine.
Right.
I don't know. If I was a publicist, I don't know that I would necessarily want some of my artists on the classic metal show.
Sure.
And that's okay. But, I personally like it better when they just, like my friend Kevin, who books like Steel Panther and the Latore Queensryche and those types of bands. You remember as well as I do what a hassle that was to get Latore on.
Right.
It was just this big hassle because of the real Jeff Tate and what we do on the show and, this and that. And it was a hassle. And then I didn't help things any by saying that Doug Pinnick was, cancer.
Right.
I didn't help much with that one either.
Sure.
But that's the nature, and that's why we haven't had, to be honest, that's why we haven't had Lynch on the show to talk about KXM. Because them and the label are both mad at me and you, mostly me, about KXM.
Right.
But, did we ever talk about that with Rat Pack?
Well, I don't think we talked about it on the show. I know you and I kind of discussed it between us.
Right.
But I don't remember if we really elaborated about it on the show.
We could tell this story real quick, can we?
Go ahead.
We were, Rat Pack Records is a, it's a smaller but one of the bigger of the small independent labels, I would say. Was that fair?
Are they a label or a distribution?
A label.
They're a label. Okay.
They're definitely a label. They do. And KXM is one of their big acts. They also do Ronnie Monroe, and
they're doing the Last Metal record. Church.
Yeah, and they're doing the LeBar record.
And I think Stephen Piercy worked with them too, didn't he?
I'm not sure on that one, but I mean they do some decent bands. They do some good acts, and so they put out a press release about Ronnie Monroe getting ready to promote his new record, Electric Wake. And I asked about us being on, getting an interview with Ronnie. I threw the ad out once because the way it works is they send me an email saying, hey, we're going to be doing interviews with this guy. We're looking for reviews, blah, blah, blah. And so I wrote back and said, yeah, we'd do something with Ronnie. And immediately it was just a hellstorm.
Yeah.
Of, are you gonna tell him that he's cancer and make fun of our press release that we put out on him?
which just makes me laugh because now I realize that our reputation precedes us now.
Oh, it does. But then he said, well, the way it was phrased to me, let me see if I can find the email real fast, because the way it was phrased was funny. KXM Rat Pack. Now I'm probably really not doing us any favors by reading this, but
well, I have the letters.
Do you have it all?
I have it all in front of me here.
All right, read the one that he wrote back where he said only if you're gonna blah blah blah.
He said only if you promise to be unnecessarily insulting to Ronnie and refer to him as musical cancer like you did Doug. And I like the fact that he spelled Doug with the small D and the large U and G.
Well, that's his guy.
I know. and verbally bash every aspect of both the music and our press release for no reason, like you did with KXM. For no reason.
And what was my answer? Deal.
Right.
I think that's the exact word I wrote, wasn't it? Just deal?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, but needless to say, that is what we deal with sometimes.
Sure.
You know, there's a good and a bad to everything that we do.
Right.
You know, the fans, the people, you people that listen every week, whether it's podcast or, you know, live or whatever, y'all like what we do. Y'all love when we trash something that we think is bad.
I like the fact that that your friend Joe said that was the cheesiest crap I ever heard, referring to Doug as cancer. I don't know if that's cheesy.
Is that cheesy?
I don't think that's cheesy, but that was his words. So that's what made me laugh.
You know, I just look at the whole thing as that's what I thought in the moment, and I don't take it back. Honestly, you know, I don't take anything back. I mean, the reality is in that specific segment, and you know, the point was made that he has some sort or had just battled some sort of illness.
Sure.
I don't know if it's cancer or what it was that he battled, but you know what? Too bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't making a joke on his illness.
So I like the fact that he said, and you referring to Ray as the corn drummer that no one cares about and all that horse shit about Lynch. Seriously, good luck getting G or any of them on your show ever again.
Okay.
Gee whiz, really? Boy, he listened to that close.
Well, from what I was told.
Okay.
From what I was told by people in the know on this thing floated around a lot of places.
Really?
Yeah. And
yeah,
there was,
like our stupid opinion matters.
Yeah, well, and there might have been talk about, you know, maybe going further than just yelling at me about it.
Really? Like what?
I don't want to get into all that.
Oh, really?
I've heard things, and I don't know that it's true.
Okay.
I have no idea if it's true or not. That's why I don't want to really spread a rumor. But
how big of a deal could it be? I mean, like slander?
Well, maybe
voicing an opinion.
You know the world we live in today, man.
I know. Seriously, come on now. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's you know, as I said in my return email, I was like, look, I evaluated the music on what I heard. I was told I could play one song. I hated the one song. I stand by the fact that I hated the one song. And anybody's expectation that we're going to be nice is a silly expectation.
Right.
You're a public band. You put your music out there publicly. There is no expectation of politeness. You know, I don't expect them to be polite back to me.
Well, again, I didn't realize we were such a force.
We do reach several people.
I know we do, but who listens to us and says, man, you know what, that Neely and Chris, they said this, and man, that must be true because they said it.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't believe it for a minute.
Let me see here. But man, we got trashed on YouTube for it.
I know. I read that too.
Did you read all the comments on YouTube? I read
all the comments, how we were living in our parents' basement, and you know, that's always the big one, isn't it? These two guys who live in their parents' basement.
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I own multiple businesses.
Right. That's funny.
KXM, let me see, Classic Metal Show. Let me see if I can't find that KXM video real quick. Because there's like 500 comments.
Right.
You know, that's what's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, the YouTube clip is called Is KXM a POS? And there are 47 comments, 2 likes, and 57 dislikes.
Right. So funny.
It is funny, but you know, and that was thrown at me too, is that I should read the comments on the YouTube to craft my own opinions on what I say.
Right.
That was said to me too.
Yeah, because because popular opinion is what crafts our show.
Right.
Because we bow to what's popular.
That's what we just want everybody to be happy.
Right. Let's make everybody like us.
Everybody needs to enjoy what we do.
Yeah, you need to like us.
And again, I have no problems at all with Rat Pack Records or the dude that runs the place or whatever. And I know he took offense, and he wanted to make his point that they did chart on Billboard, so apparently we were quote unquote wrong.
Right.
But I don't think we were wrong. Our opinion is it stinks.
It's an opinion.
That song, and again, I say what I said the first time, not the whole record. I like the record. I hate the song.
Right.
And we were told we were allowed to play the song.
Right.
But yeah, for those that don't know, we don't always talk about it. There's always something going on behind the scenes.
Right. Well, you catch the brunt of it because you're the point man, but
I fight off a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Slings and arrows, my friend. Slings and arrows.
But you know what? In fairness, I guess I'm the one that probably causes a lot of the stuff. So whatever. KXM, I think we were equally guilty, but if we are quote unquote guilty,
sure.
I don't know, but whatever. Is what it is. But yeah, that did happen.
Well, so much for that. But as far as like people like Ronnie Monroe and whatever, obviously I could just call him.
Yeah, or Lynch.
Yeah, it's like no big deal.
And to be honest, and I say it all the time, I hate doing interviews. I fucking hate them. I do them because they fucking land on Blabbermouth.
Sure.
That's why we do them. No other reason. They're like an infomercial for the Classic Metal Show. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. Look, I was watching the chat room when the Tom Hunting interview was going. Nobody's listening to it live.
Right.
Nobody. They were all talking about other shit.
Sure.
So, is what it is.